2, 1.
And now for Pucks and Pints. Brought to you by Jimmy Sports Lounge in Kingston, Ontario.
Exclusively on YouTube and Facebook. It's time for the Pucks and Pints pre-show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the gang is back together. All three of us here, Bacon, Big B, and myself. We've got games on tonight. So we're going to do what we got to do. We're going to take care of business, and then we got to go watch hockey, just like the rest of you. So if you're watching hockey, mute it. Those guys don't know what they're talking about anyway. And listen to us or watch us while you're watching the hockey game. How's it going, guys? Lots to talk about tonight.
It's going well.
There's a whole lot going on.
Real quiet bunch out there tonight here on Pucks and Pints Radio. Yeah, there was a lot going on. My hot seat from last week, we have repercussions of Vancouver. You heard it here first. I'm sure we'll mention that during the water cooler stuff. We got a hot seat with Bacon back after last week and all kinds of other stuff to chat about. It just keeps getting hotter and hotter.
I can't wait till the hot seat.
All the rumors, the teams that are moving and shaking, and other teams are sliding. And my gosh, this is going to be an exciting month in February, I think.
That hot seat's going to be something. There's a whole lot to unpack there.
Oh, yeah. Without alluding to what it is, when I was reading through the story, I got a page and a half of notes, and it's some of the it's crazy. Like, I don't get it.
So you'll enlighten me because all I know is he's bankrupt. So it's going to be fun. I follow the hockey players that are actually playing.
How about the ones that are playing and bankrupt, like Kane?
Well, yeah, he's in trouble too. See, there's more than one of them.
There's a commonality in my hot seat. There's a commonality between these two guys too.
I can't wait.
Behind the scenes, yeah, it's
kind of. I don't really care for either of them. So, but hey, how about Ovi? Ovi missed a game the other night, and he don't miss a game for nothing. Lower body injury, day to day is what they're calling on him. But man, they don't have Ovi, and that's a big favor for your Rangers, Big B.
1 point behind the Rangers right now. I was just looking at the standings. They're 1 point behind. But the Rangers are playing the Panthers tonight, so I'm expecting a win. Although, who knows?
Well, they've come out flat against. The Panthers are on a tear right now, 7-2-1 their last 10. And the Rangers aren't much worse, 6-2-2.
Yeah, but they've shown this season that they come out flat. they have a propensity of coming out flat during against not good teams, and I don't know why. Like, losing to the game they lost to Montreal. I mean, they were just it was like they weren't even there. It was, I don't know why they do this, but they do. They have these.
The Leafs do the same thing, and I don't get it.
Yeah,
you can beat Boston. You're one of the only teams that beat Boston. You can beat just about everybody. You crushed Colorado, and you can't beat Montreal or Arizona.
Yeah, it's and I don't get it either. And you hear the post game conversations. Oh well, we didn't have the effort tonight. Why? Why would you not have the effort every night?
Yeah, those are the easy points.
Those are the really easy points.
Yeah, I guess it's probably one of those things too, right? Like coaching minor hockey. Sometimes teams take other teams for granted, right? So let's take Toronto, Montreal, for instance. You come out and you play a team that's really, really good. You give your best. You say, cool, we got to compete with these guys. And then you got a team like Montreal coming in where they go, it's just Montreal. And then they end up crapping the bed and That's it. Like you look like idiots, and everybody comes out and says, "Well, our power play could have been better, and our penalty kill could have been." Then why wasn't it better? Like, regardless of the fact that it's the weakest or one of the weaker teams in the league, you should come out and just run the score. Like, just come out and use that as a good time to just work out the kinks and just shoot. But what do I know, right?
And that's I think the difference between the true Stanley Cup contending teams and the playoff teams, because the playoff teams will sometimes play down to your opponent, where Stanley Cup contending teams play the same throughout the entire season.
And I'm telling you, I want to keep doubting Boston, and they've lost a few scrapers too, but 37-5-4.
Oh, they're amazing. I watched them last night or yesterday afternoon. Oh my God. Huh. They make teams look stupid.
Yeah, they're but Florida did this last year, and then they bowed out. I mean, anything is anything once the real game begins.
That's true.
Yep.
But yeah, the only thing I heard about New York, while we have a few minutes to kill here on the pre-show, I was listening to NHL radio on the way home tonight from work, and is their disappointing performance at home, and they need help on the right side, whatever it is, whoever it is.
Yeah, especially on the second line, for sure. They for whatever reason they are a much better road team than they are a home team, and I can't explain it, because Madison Square Garden is one of the loudest arenas in all of hockey, and that would lead to a huge home ice advantage. But they are losing more often than they're winning there, and the right side has been a struggle the whole season. They can't figure out the right side on the first or second line. And they've tried so many different combinations, and nothing is sticking.
And I don't think it's your goaltending.
No, not at all.
You're losing 2-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. It's not goals against.
Well, no, but they can't score 5-on-5. I mean, they're scoring on their power play, but they can't score 5-on-5. And for whatever reason, and this is maddening to me, Gerard Gallant is constantly changing the lines. Like, nobody has a chance to gel with each other. So, Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider are playing with Jimmy Vesey, Capo Caco. They put Lafreniere up there. Panarin and Trocheck are playing, again, with those guys, maybe some other people. There's no solid line combinations to gel and get that, we know where everybody's going to be at all times. I don't know why he does that.
I think he got load, Panarin, with Zibanejad and Kreider.
They've tried that a couple of times. And
I don't know.
The problem is, since they're bad 5-on-5, that weakens the second line, and you got to move up somebody from the kid line into the second line, and that's kind of just, if you're putting all your offense on the top line, it's rough because they don't have a lot of depth.
Yeah.
You got Lafreniere sitting there doing nothing.
Well, maybe a late traded. You never know.
He may be traded.
At least he's not out with season-ending shoulder surgery. Seems to be the new COVID.
Yeah, right.
You got Norris in Ottawa. You got Caulfield. Well, Mark Stone, it's his back, but I mean, Pacioretty's dropped. Like, at least you still have Lafreniere.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah,
that's one thing I'll say. The team isn't injury prone, which is good.
Yeah, no, you're lucky. But every game gets bigger. You can't afford these stupid. These stupid blown games, any of us. Anyway, folks, we're gonna hop in here and get the show started. We got a big show. You heard all about the hot seat. That's gonna be one of the first things we talk about once we find out what Bacon is drinking. And away we go, kids.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
The fastest 60 minutes on ice. Pints and Pints Radio.
good. Scores.
It's hockey time. Here are your hosts, the Big B, Coach K, and Bacon.
The waiting is over. Do you believe in miracles? Yes.
And now for Pucks and Pints.
And a big welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Coach K. It's great to be here again, as always. You missed the pre-show. You missed some juicy stuff. We were gnarling away at different topics before we came on air. Big show as always. We got Bacon in the hot seat. We've got Jay Vegas. We've got Mike Sports Minute, and we've got our water cooler talk. Lots of stuff to unwrap. It seems to get more and more tense every single week. Of course, a big shout out over to Big B in Queens.
Hi,
and a welcome back to the only one without a Jimmy's hat.
Let Big B do his thing first.
there it is. There's the Jimmy's hat that you will have, I guess, maybe one day. You're gonna have to go to his hat. You know he's not coming to you.
I will
wonder
not
if
buy
Mike
tomorrow night.
Mike Jolitz might get his first.
Yeah, all the way in Surprise, Arizona. He will get his before Bacon gets his, even though you two are like practically neighbors.
Pretty much.
Yeah, on my way home from the arena tomorrow, I will stop and pick that up.
I'll probably be in bed, but
He won't answer the door. You
No,
probably
no,
leave
the
it
wife.
outside.
I'll leave it with the wife, and she will give you the hat.
It's going to be left outside in front of the door, so you can just go by and pick it up, and then.
In my luck, it'll be raining or something at the same time, and it'll get to be soaking wet.
Right, soaking wet or iced over or something.
That's all
By the
right.
way-
On a non-hockey note, so Jake has been procrastinating forever about getting his full driver's license. It's scheduled for Wednesday, and there's supposed to be a storm.
Good times. Good times indeed. Speaking of good times, I'd like to go back up to Windsor and find out what the master of all things craft beer is drinking tonight.
Oh, I got good ones tonight.
Ooh.
So
Let's get them on screen here.
my wife got me the beer of the month thing for Christmas. It didn't show up yet. It's on the way. I was hoping it would be here to have it, but so I went to the liquor store just around the corner here, and tonight is a hockey beer theme. So this one is called Canada
Nice.
72.
Who
And
makes
on
that?
this is made by a brewery in Saint Hyacinthe, Quebec.
Mm.
It's really good. It's light. It's 5%, so it's just a regular beer, but it tastes really, really light. Now, what got me was, I don't know if you can see it, but on the can, it's got kind of black and white images of the 72 Summit Series.
Yeah, Paul Henderson.
Look at that.
Yeah, after he scored his goal.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So I'm going to hang on to this can when I'm done. And the other one I have tonight is called Locker Room Lager.
Oh boy.
I've had this before as well. It's really, really good. It's brewed out of a place in Toronto called Post Game Brewing. I've actually got, you can't see it, but I'm going to move it. I have a tin sign on my wall back behind me over here from this brewery as well.
Nice. So a favorite of yours.
Yeah, it's a good one. I was turned on to it by a buddy of mine that I play hockey with, a mutual friend of both of ours. And so I've got it ever since. Now,
I
before
don't have any friends.
mutual acquaintance, let's put it that way. So before we jet off real quick, I want to do a shout out real quick to a buddy of mine, to his son actually. So I got a phone call Friday night, and his son called, and his son's name is Colton, and he said, "I watch your show every week." He says,
Nice.
after it's done, he goes, "I watch it after." He didn't realize he could watch it live, so I think he's tuned in tonight. If not, that's fine. He's going to get this after. But Colton, this is a shout out to you. He's my little stats buddy. So he is just, if you sit down and watch a hockey game with Colton, he will quote stats the entire game. He'll say, oh, that player, 7 assists, 5 goals, whatever. This kid, crazy like that. So in honor of you, Colton, today in hockey history, this is February 18th. That's not today. Today is January.
It's January still, for gosh sakes. Now there's a kid watching. I can't swear.
No, you can. You can. I know his father, and trust me, what we say, you're good.
Anyway, well, he's looking this up, Colton. It's great to have you. Any fan is a great fan, and I appreciate you. And if you're watching live, say hi in chat. If you're watching on the replay, get in touch with us. I'm always looking for insiders, Colton. I always need to have the edge on these two. They think they know everything about this game, and I need good insiders. So you want to be on my staff, you want to be Team Coach K.
Yeah, maybe we can incorporate a new segment for maybe later in the season or next season with Colton's Corner or something. He gets a stat or.
Absolutely.
But this one's for you. It's I know you're a big Leafs fan, but today, January 23rd, 1944, the Red Wings set an NHL record by scoring 15 straight goals in a 15-0 blowout of the Rangers.
Oof.
Oh, that. Give Big B a minute to take the knife out of his back.
What year was that?
Big B and I got along.
Of 1944.
So that was before the expansion and the new era, but still.
Big B and I last week, it was him and I. We could have went head to head. We're actually very civil between the Leafs and the Rangers. You get back and you're like putting popcorn in the microwave.
That one was unintentional. I didn't realize it said Rangers until I actually read it.
That was the days before they had goalie masks. They barely had goalie pads.
Yeah,
It was just some guy
goalie
standing in
pad,
front of the net with a hockey stick and a glove trying to catch things.
1944. That wouldn't have been Ed Jockman. He was more 70s.
No, yeah, he was. 1944 is certainly not Jockerman.
They never had Gillies or whatever his name is. Gump Worsley?
They had Gump Worsley.
Was it Gump Worsley?
They had Gump Worsley.
That might have been back.
Oof. Everybody had Gump Worsley. There was only 7 teams in the league.
That is true.
You either rotated Terry Sawchuk, Gump Worsley, Johnny Bauer, I don't know, Jock Plant, but he was later on too.
I'm looking up the New York Rangers 1944 roster.
No, we're not getting into that. We've got a hot seat to get into. Anyway, Colton, great to have you. You reach out to me. You and I will get along really good. You feed me the information, and I'll make sure it gets to the people. But Bacon reached out to us this week, and he has a hot seat. And apparently, him and Big B think this is this is better than. What was that show you watched? Tiger King or whatever, B?
It's got all the makings of the Tiger King.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
This show's about the plummet. This show's about the plummet.
This goes well beyond hockey.
And now, Stinky Lockers presents In the Hot Seat.
I'm just going to take my beer and sit back and listen to you two.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. When you say it could rival Tiger King, like this is okay. So all the news coming out about Robin Leonard and how he's claimed bankruptcy while he's out injured, having hip surgery. So I thought, I'm going to look into this story a little bit. And the more I read into this story, the crazier it got. So first of all, I'm going to say, I was a huge Leonard fan when he was on the Islanders. He didn't get all the playing time. He came in, kind of stole the show in the playoffs. My son, so he uses gear that was made by Brian's sports gear, which is manufactured in Kingsville, Ontario. So just down the road here, about 20 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So I took my son on a tour through the facility, through the plant, and while that playoff run was going, he was able to go in and see some of his gear being made. They let him put the gloves on. He was had Leonard's blocker and trapper on that were being shipped out for the second round of the playoffs. So it was pretty cool. So I was a big fan of his because he was a huge mental health advocate. He came out publicly and said, look, I'm not perfect. I've got problems. Here's the deal, whatever. Then he started to struggle a bit. Injuries, trades, everything else. So everybody knows, hockey players, some of them make bad decisions. They get some money. They buy some cool stuff. Some invest. Some do the right thing. Other guys, not so much. And this is a story of a not so much. In 2017, he agrees to buy $1.2 million of rare exotic snakes from RL Exotics in Missouri from a man named Ben Rennick. The total of the $1.2 million was to be paid in $200,000 installments every quarter as things progressed. So he made his first payment February 20. I want to say it's 2017. I couldn't get a full date. He said he made his first payment. Then, out of the blue, Ben Rennick is murdered by his wife.
Oh my God! I knew this was going to be Tiger King. These guys bug me. These guys bug me because they want to start a hockey show. I do everything in my power, ladies and gentlemen, to bring you the news, the rumors, and the stats. And look where we're going, and we still got Jay Vegas to come.
Yeah. So he's murdered by his wife. So after the death, Leonard just decides out of the blue, I'm not making payments anymore because the guy's dead. I'm not going to pay on this. So his wife turns around, sues Leonard in 2018 for not making the payments. So then Leonard countersues and says the snakes began breeding uncontrollably and the costs were too much to care of them properly, causing them to lose value. So now Leonard has a house or a snake emporium or something in Missouri.
Where the hell is he keeping these snakes?
Yeah, they're in Missouri, right? So nowhere near Vegas,
house.
Nowhere near New York. Like they're in the middle of kind of just right smack in the middle of nowhere.
Are we safe, or is this like a killer bee type of thing?
They are. Most of them are boas and stuff like that, so they're not poisonous cobras and stuff like that. But yeah, so in 2019, Leonard decides, after the countersuit and all of this stuff, he walks into Rennick's Reptiles, which is the new name of this place after he died, and he just helped himself to a collection of anacondas and took them with him. He didn't pay for them. He didn't ask. He walked in the door and just stole a bunch of snakes.
So while he's under contract in Vegas, let me get this straight. He's got anacondas in his bathtub.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, he does. Yeah.
Just quick clarification for you.
$25 million as well is his contract. 5 years, $25 million.
5 years, 25. Quick clarification. RL Exotics is Robin Lanner's. That's his.
That's his.
And Rennick's Reptiles is the place where RL Exotics was buying the snakes from.
There we go. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Rennick. Okay, Rennick. Yeah, God. So all of this goes down.
I need a whiteboard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of with a bunch of strings on it, and so all of this goes down. Then fast forward to 2022. A Wisconsin-based company called Eclipse Services Inc. sues Leonard for $4 million for missed payments on a business loan.
Now, who's this new company?
This is strike number 2, that he took out some loans, wasn't able to pay them back. Him and his father are named on the suits, so his dad is somehow involved in this mess of getting snakes and money and all of this stuff that really nobody can account for what he's got yet. A second company, Solar Code LLC, who assumed the debt from Eclipse and had a deal to repay the 4 years that he missed with Eclipse, they missed the first 5 payments, leading them to sue as well. So they've got companies assuming debt who aren't paying. You've got a person who's in debt who's not paying.
Hey, wait a minute. What's this guy make on an annual salary, Big B? It's got to be somewhere around $7 million.
His 5. His contract is 5 for 25.
5 for 25.
So he's got the money.
Yeah, so he's got 5, probably a little more than that, depending on if he's got some endorsements and stuff like that on the side.
Right.
So then December 30th, he declares Chapter 7. Says, "Cool, I'm bankrupt." Asks the judge to defer it to February 3rd to get his documents in order. His assets are listed anywhere from $1 to $10 million. There's no definitive number because nobody knows what he has and what he bought.
Of course not. He's a shady.
His debt.
He sneaks snakes in his pants across the borders.
Right? His
Taiwan.
debts are estimated between 10 and 50 million. And again, no one can know because the numbers are still rolling in.
Yeah.
So in the suit that he has currently, there are up to 50 companies named that are suing.
Wow.
Of those 50, some of the big names are the NHL. They're listed. Solar Code and Eclipse Services, which we talked about.
Well, wait a minute. What does the NHL have in this? They don't have any. They must not have any money sprinkled, but defamation.
I don't know. It very well could be, right? Something in the contract about defamation of character or liabilities, or the same with the Golden Knights. They're listed. Black Knight Sports and Entertainment, Newport Sports Management, and here's the one that I alluded to in our pre-show: Sun Sports Lending. So they specialize in low-interest, unsecured loans for athletes based on not the money they have in hand, based on the value of their contract.
Okay, which
they're lending money
always has to be paid out in the end, the contract, right?
Right, and they're lending money based on, hey, this is what you're supposed to make. We're going to give you a big chunk of money because you're worth a lot of money. Knowing full well, and this is another company that was also involved in the Evander Kane bankruptcy. They represented him and did some lending for him as well. So it kind of sounds like you've got a shady lending company that just says, we know they're not going to pay back.
You piqued my interest here now. I got to do a little more research.
Yeah, and as of when I did the research on this, as of Friday, as part of the suit, the lawyers have also subpoenaed his evaluations and his mental health records from the Golden Knights to see if it plays into his spending habits and lending and all that kind of stuff as well.
So he's going to claim to be crazy.
It may end up that way. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, I
can't. Big B, anything to add before we move on here?
Well, I can't see how he could claim to be crazy, because he's willingly entering into these deals, and his father is willing. Him and his father are part of Solar Code, which is the dish, the solar panel business.
Right.
They're entering into these deals and not paying back. That's not somebody who's being taken advantage of, let's say, and all of this. He's entering into all of these deals. So I don't know that he's not going to have a leg to stand on as far as being crazy. As far as Rennick's Reptiles, just as a side note, Ben Rennick's wife, Lindley, was sentenced to 16 years in prison for murder. So this is real. This is truly a Tiger King story.
I didn't expect to walk into this tonight. I thought we'd hear some entertaining stuff about exotic snakes. Here's you know what question I'm going to come back to, boys. Is Robin Leonard ever going to play an NHL hockey game again?
I want to say yes. You can see how players can rebound after this. Evander Kane being a perfect example, but I just don't know. It depends. I think it's going to depend on what he owes and to who he owes it, and how Vegas and the NHL are into that mix.
Now, here's my other question, because I'm coming in here a little bit blind, so I don't want to speak out of line, especially when I know we've got the stat freak out there in the audience. But did San Jose not get some sort of a break when Evander Kane was going through all that? Didn't they? Wasn't his contract in limbo or something for a little bit, and they were allowed to spend that money? So maybe the same thing's going to happen here in Vegas, and they're going to have some money to spend, which God knows they're going to need now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it played out. I would assume it's probably like a long-term IR type situation where that frees up that cap space, and
I'm not sure.
He's got 2 hip surgeries that he's recovering from, so he's not going to play for a while anyway. But I think wasn't Evander Kane's deal that his wife or girlfriend accused him of betting on the games?
Yeah, there were, I'm not.
But that turned out not to be true.
I'm not trying to get into that story, but what I'm saying is I seem to remember, we weren't on air then, but I seem to remember San Jose got some kind of cap relief from that.
Right. What I'm getting to is, I think the situations were different because he was accused of betting on hockey games, which you can't do.
Right.
So I think he was maybe suspended or without pay, whatever it was. Leonard has nothing to do with the NHL. These are all bad business dealings on his own personal side, having nothing to do with the NHL or the games or the team. So I think it's two completely different things. Just because he's going bankrupt in his own personal life doesn't really affect the hockey team. Whereas if Evander Kane was betting on his games, that could wildly affect.
That's bad. That ruined Art Schleister's career in football. Should have been number one.
Rose in baseball.
Yeah. But hey, it's time to call Lloyd's of London, Vegas. You need some insurance.
Yeah, maybe they can call
segment
or whatever.
That was certainly a good hot seat. I thought mine was good last week with Vancouver, which I'm hoping we'll touch on in a little bit. But all right. Here's the important part. You got to mute here, boys. We're going to go into Vegas, and then we have a video clip of Bacon's that he wanted me to play as well. So 2 videos back to back. Here is our good friend with our pick of the week, Jay Vegas.
Bacon, did you mute your end? I think I can still. There you go. Thanks, pal. You got it. Well, folks, welcome back to another edition of Jay Vegas Pick of the Week. Last week we took the over in the Detroit Red Wings game. We had over 5.5, and we flew over. I mean, this is getting too easy now. I think that puts us at 7 in a row. 7 bets in a row. We're 7-0. We're just rolling here. This is so easy. I mean, sports betting really is super easy. It's so easy your dog could do it. It's not you know what? That's what we're going to do. Today, since things are getting so easy, I'm going to let my dog do the pick today. My dog's going to pick another winner. It's going to put us at 8-0. We're going to get there, folks. It's tonight's game. We're getting a 6 flat. We're getting a 6 flat tonight in the Columbus-Calgary game. So what we're going to do is we got a sheet here. We got 1 sheet, 1 treat. You don't need to use many treats, folks. Just one's good enough. Too many treats gets the dog all discombobulated. So you just take it. You take the treat. You put it in the sheet. Roll it up. We got another sheet here. This sheet says over 6. Same thing. Rinse, wash, repeat. Take the treat. You put it in here. You wrap it up. I'm telling you, folks, hockey betting is so easy. Anyone can do it. Cookie can do it. Check this out. This is how this works. You can do this at home, folks. You can do this at home. If you have a dog, don't do it with cats. Cats are no good at this unless your cat identifies as a dog. And here's how we do it, folks. Hey, Cookie, come here, Cookie. We take the 2 treats. We got 2 treats here, Cookie. Whichever one he goes for first. There he goes. He picked it already, folks. He's got it. And that's how easy it is. I got your winner right here. Tonight at 9:30, right after the podcast ends, we're taking in the Columbus at Calgary game, 9:30 Eastern tonight. We're on under 6, folks. You take the under 6, and it's a winner. We're going 8-0. Cookie's going to win. And if he doesn't, I don't feed him for a week. I don't know. We'll see. Don't worry about it. We're going 8-0 tonight, 9:30. Right, Cookie? We got this, bud. Good luck, Bacon. And good luck, everybody. Under 6 tonight. Calgary Flames game. Good luck. Good luck.
What did you think of Peltier's debut?
What's that?
What did you think of Jacob's first few shifts in the NHL?
Jacob Pelche. What number is he?
49.
49. 6 minutes, 35 seconds, 13 shifts, average 30 seconds a shift. Got 43 seconds in the power play, played 5 minutes, 52 seconds. Had 1 shot and goal and 1 hit.
Beyond the stats.
What can you learn just from being on the bench and seeing what the veterans on the team are doing?
It's the NHL. 21 years old. Got a long ways to go.
All right, folks, there we go. Bacon wanted us to play that clip. Before we do that, does anybody bet money with Cookie?
I think Cookie was right at under 6, but what a terrible game to bet on.
I want to tell you something, though. He's getting better and better every week, guys. We got to sign him long term or he's gone.
Well, it depends. If Cookie does a good job, maybe we get Cookie back next week, and then we decide whether we sign Jay or Cookie.
Ooh.
I agree, but I mean, the way he started out, you know, and every week he's turning into more of a showman, and he's kind of getting this radio video stuff.
He made sure Bacon was muted this time. You know, he's. I like that.
Over to you, Bacon. Speaking of Calgary and the under tonight.
Yeah, I wanted to play that clip because this made me. I was furious when I saw this interview. So Jacob Pelche, right, 22 years old, a rookie, first game out, gets his rookie lap. He's got family in attendance. It's a nationally televised game. He's the first player under 22 years old to play for Calgary this year. Everybody else has been older. So Pelche was asked on his debut. He said, "You know, how did you think it was?" He said, "It's a dream come true." He says, "Since I've been 4 or 5, the main goal is to play in the NHL. Tonight was my first game. It was great." Then the media asked Sutter about his performance, and he does that. Like, he doesn't have a clue who this kid is. He says, screw him. As a coach, as a parent, as somebody who roots for the underdog, this kid was disrespected, and it pisses me off. He could have simply just said, "Oh, he did great," even if he doesn't know who this kid is. He could have said, "Yeah, he did great. He's got a little ways to come. He had a little bit of ice time. End of story." But no, he goes, "Oh, who is he? What's his number?
Yeah,
oh, yeah, okay, yeah, he had 6 minutes of ice time. Yeah."
Here's my behind the scenes dish on this, just to clarify a little more. He was under a lot of heat. Why haven't you played him yet? Why haven't you played him yet? When are you going to play this kid? And I'm thinking this is a little bit, you know, Sutter's like Torts. They're characters. And I think he was just kind of playing with the media. He knows damn well who this kid is. He knows his team. He's playing off the media and he's playing off the fans. They've been bugging him like crazy. When's this kid gonna play? Finally he gets a spot. I think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't know about you, Big B.
A coach knows, one, the number of the player and the player's name, no matter who's on the bench. So I was thinking maybe he had a little thing with that person in the media was just getting a dig at him. And I wanted to know what else he said after the clip ended, because I'm sure he actually said, you know, this kid did good. This kid, you know, has things to work on, whatever. I'm sure there was more to it. I agree with you 100%. I think it was just a dig, because no coach is going to say, who's that? Like he didn't know he was on the bench and put him on the ice.
And this kid's supposed to be good.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely. So, I just think it's a slap in the face. Because, I mean, now it's national. Even if you're joking. Even if you're joking, like, ha, 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 screw you. dude, now it's out there. It's like, oh yeah, your coach is just a dick. Like, that's all there is to it.
But that's why I said I want to know what was said after the clip, because I'm sure he did say realistic things about the kid, and that was the clip that's being cut and sent viral. I'm sure he actually said legitimate things.
This is a coach who goes and works on the farm in the off season. Like he's got a reputation making. I agree with you. It makes him look like an idiot, but I think he likes it when he looks like an idiot. Like I think it's almost an act for some of these guys.
Yeah, maybe he's playing up the country bumpkin active, but I still think it's disrespectful, especially on the kid's first night out. You want to do that night two? Maybe. First night with his family and everything there. Let it go.
But he pulled those stats. He pulled those stats pretty quick. Yeah, when you're looking at 22 guys, he knew exactly what that kid did.
Yeah, he had it marked and everything, And by the way, didn't he win Coach of the Year last year? He doesn't not know who's on his bench and who is.
He knows who this kid is.
He knows who he is.
And maybe the kid came in with an attitude, and he didn't want to go into a Shane Wright or a situation like that, and he's just
he played more than Shane Wright in his debut.
Yeah, so but maybe he's just like, I'm going to check your attitude, kid, and I'm sure they talked in the office and had a shot of bourbon, and I'm sure it's going to be okay.
It'd be corn mash or something for him.
So you said there was two things that made you mad. We kind of shot down this. Sorry, but
no, that's I welcome.
I agree with you though. I'm all for the player. I'm all for the underdog. I'm exactly the same as you.
Yeah, but I love seeing kids take their first lap for sure, man. Like you to get out there and like you said, I've wanted this since I was 4 or 5 years old. So 17 years in the making, this kid takes his first lap. Like it's so cool to be in a game where a kid takes his first lap. Like it's unbelievable.
100%.
Yeah, the other one was the slow motion car wreck that is the Vancouver Canucks and the way they handled the Boudreau situation.
Did you listen last week?
Oh my God! Every interview for the last week and a half with Boudreau has been, I don't know if today's the day. I don't know. Is there something happening? But I'm just going to coach. I'm going to do my thing. He comes out and says, I don't know if today's the day. He gets all kind of teary-eyed on, I think it was Friday night. They play Friday, Saturday, and then boom, fired.
And you want to talk about an underdog before you go any further on this story. This is a guy who lives in Hershey, Pennsylvania. He runs a hockey school. He owns a junior hockey team in the U.S. Hockey League. Guy does so much for this sport. His face is so lovable. You could just pinch his cheeks. And he's a great coach. I mean, he's one of the most winning coaches underneath Scotty Bowman of all time. Our stat guy can double check that for me. But he's a lovable guy, and now the fans are turning, this is getting good.
You know what's interesting to go along with the number of wins that he has? Him and Tocchet both have never won a playoff series as a coach.
Never. As a head coach. Tocchet's won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah, as a head coach, right? And Boudreau's got a cup as a player as well.
Yeah.
But, never won one as a head coach. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. They're just trading one guy for another. I don't know what Tocchet brings to the table that Boudreau didn't have, but
I hear Tocchet is
that I did glean from.
I hear Tocchet is another bastard. He's hard-nosed. And he's also
he's a Tortorella.
And see who he's bringing in with him? Adam Foote and Sergei Gonchar. Dude, your defense is a mess. So good luck with a defensive system, and your goalie is hurt. But good luck.
Well, I'll be honest. You bring those guys in, they'll put the right pieces in the place. Like they said, this is going to be I like how they call it a rebuild. This is going to be a fire sale. And a start from scratch, I think.
I'm not sure it is, because you've already got JT Miller locked down. Talk is Horvat's going to stay now.
I was going to ask that question.
Rumors are around and around, and you never know what to make until everything drops. But
I was going to ask that question. With Rick Tocchet coming on board, do they now not trade those pieces? What you just talked about,
you got to sign
Miller, I don't think, because Rick Tocchet was, coach of the Arizona Coyotes for however many years, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it was.
Right.
And, they didn't do much. You would figure with JT Miller and Bo Horvat, he's got better players now than he ever had in Phoenix. He's going to want to build off that. Why would you come into a situation where, you're going to coach the team? Oh, by the way, we're getting rid of the 2 of the best players on the team. Why would you accept
that's not up to Rutherford. I don't know how much money the guy has to spend. They got that other Russian guy too, who's performing like crazy. Everybody has budgets, but you either sign him or you get something for him this year. Like, I don't think you're going to ride this guy out. You're what? You're in 27th place. Playoffs are not in Tockett's dream right now.
But do you want, if you're Rick Tocchet, do you want to walk into a situation where everybody's gone and you have to build from the ground up all these young players?
I wouldn't think so.
And you already didn't do anything in Arizona.
Yeah, the guys. Well, he was commended for his defense, but let's remember who the goalie was. It was Darcy Kemper,
right?
Who is now one of the best regarded goalies in the league and a Stanley Cup champion. Right?
True.
Mm-hmm.
So he's bringing in the big guns. Gonchar is a defensive specialist. Adam Foote is dabbled in the coaching a little bit as well. But you got free agents on any team, okay? I don't care who it is. It's an expiring deal. You're either going to sign them during the season or you can't let these guys walk unless they're your own rental. And you don't need a rental in Vancouver because now they're not making the playoffs. There's not a chance in hell. I mean, the Calgary Flames might be joining them really soon.
Yeah, I don't see Calgary sitting in there either. Not the way they're playing anyway, but stranger things have happened.
No, you traded as much as I don't like, as much as we blasted Goudreau and Kachuk on the show and bad deals and whatever in Columbus and Florida. You traded away 75 goals, and you've right now your highest scoring forward, I believe, is Tyler Toffoli, who's a Stanley Cup champion and an excellent player, but no one else has got any more than 9 goals. Huberdeau, Kadri, any of these guys, whatever that other guy is, I can never pronounce his name, starts with an M.
Mackenzie Weegar?
Not Mackenzie Weegar, the forward.
Mangiapane, Andrew Mangiapane.
Yeah, Mangiapane. He hasn't done anything this year either. Any of those backline, none of them are doing anything. And you've got Lukic playing second and top line left wing. They're in a mess too. There's another
got a good scrap
an absolute mess. Sorry to jump from Vancouver to Calgary. I don't know if you guys.
No, that's okay. I mean, it all blends together, right? Like that was the only thing. Is just my thought was just the way it was handled. And
I feel terrible for the guy. I really do.
The worst part is they brought in Tocchet 2 weeks ago to kind of shadow him. At what point do you not just go, I quit? Like it's the axe is gonna fall. You're just kind of waiting every day, like it's getting closer.
Yeah, and I know you're mad at what's his name there in Calgary. I wouldn't wish that on him. But Boudreau's a likable guy. He's just freaking lovable. He's like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
It's funny that you say that because on NHL radio today, they were talking about that. And one of the radio hosts, who's friends with some players, said quite the opposite. He said, yeah, on the outside, everything looks good. He says, but there are a lot of players that do not like him, and he can be a real hard ass.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was like, really? I'm like, I just don't, you look at it, you just don't see it, right? Like, he's just kind of, I don't know, you want to hug him. He just looks like, he looks like he'd give a good hug.
Seems like a nice, lovable coach, and he is very well respected, I thought, around the league.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, but again, there's always that thing, right? And I made that in my post to you guys was, I get that it's a business, I get that, this isn't minor hockey. This isn't junior hockey. Look, we're paying you millions of dollars a year to win. If you can't do it, and if you can't control your staff and you can't control your players and stop them from wanting to leave, then you have to go.
Right.
And I completely understand that. I just don't agree with the way they did it.
Now you got
They
three
should have just
coaches.
said,
You
"You're
got
fired."
3 coaches, not 2. 3 coaches.
Yeah.
Through next year, $7 million.
Yeah.
And I know that doesn't affect the cap, but that's kind of embarrassing. I think.
And,
anyway,
quick game update before we move. It's 1-0 Islanders end of the first.
I like it when they lead. What about the Rangers, B?
Last I saw, it was 1-1. They're in a replay now, so I don't know. They don't have the score graphic up.
So you'll have lots of time, folks.
It's still 1-1.
2 close games, 20 minutes away. You're going to get to do it. We got the Mike Sports Minute coming up. I want to throw some more things out there. Being where we live, Bacon, I don't know if Big B hears it like we do, but over in Detroit, they spent a lot of money. They got what's that guy they got from the Rangers there, Kopf. Him and his 6 goals or 4, whatever he scored for all that big money. They brought in the dude Maroon from St. Louis. They almost tried to position themselves as a playoff team in Detroit. Husso, good goalie. I don't think Bertuzzi's as big as a deal. You guys can talk about that. They put an offer to Dylan Larkin, and they got a hard no. I personally think, I am not a Red Wing fan by any means, but this is a face of a franchise. And if you lose this guy, you got to go out and get a number 1 center to replace him. They need to sign Dylan Larkin at all costs. And I'm wondering, you guys getting any kind of feeling on this? Are they going to toss him? Maybe he'll come back and sign later, or are they going to let this guy go? I can't see Dylan Larkin go.
Well, like I said last week, I can't see it. I can't see the Red Wings letting him go. Right now, he's their number 1 scorer, and the captain and the face of the team. I can't see them letting him go.
And he's a hometown boy, is he not?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he went to the University of Michigan. So, I mean, he's got ties in that community like you wouldn't believe. I don't see him letting him go, but if he's already said no, I mean, they're going to have to throw quite a bigger number to change that decision.
Well, here's what I heard. And again, these are only rumors, and I'm sure you guys hear the same stuff I hear. They're throwing mid to high 7s on a long-term deal. His camp's looking for 9. They're going to have to meet somewhere in the middle, or will somebody pay him a 9?
What's the length of the deal? That's
well, he's going to want 8. He's going to want if it's another team, they can only sign him 7. Right. But he's going to want to max his term.
If it's going the way that everybody else is going, it's going to be at least an 8-year deal. I mean, look at these deals that are coming out now, right? So I'll be honest. His performance in the last few years, I think he's probably worth the 9. I mean, he's worth more. He's worth 9 more so than other players.
He's the, like you said, the heart and soul. He almost reminds me of his general manager. Stevie Yzerman was that team when that team was nothing.
Yeah.
And then he was around when they started to win. But who was the guy who looked good when the Red Wings took Edmonton to 6 games and they were like the 8th seed or whatever it was in the playoffs back in the day? It was Stevie Y. Mm-hmm. He's that guy. He's that guy.
In that era, in that perfect example that you just cited, you had Yzerman and Shanahan. I mean, there was a lot of other names on that team, but those are the 2 that quarterbacked just about everything on that team for a number of years.
Yeah.
Right? So you got, Larkin.
Went. They had some great players and probably one of the best, well, a few of the best defensemen of all time, and a useless defenseman who turned out to be somebody in Larry Murphy. But, and then they had the goalie from Buffalo, and I mean, they had great teams, but when that team was nothing, there was Yzerman. And they never let him go, ever.
Nope.
I think Dylan Larkin is this guy. I really do.
Yeah, Mike Ilitch he was sold. He said, "Look, man, you're here. You're my boy. You're staying." It's and he really took care of him.
So, get out a new check, Stevie.
I think so.
Now, Bertuzzi.
Well, I think they got Nedeljkovic is on waivers as well to be picked up. Now, granted, will anybody pick him up with a 2-4-2 record and 880 save percentage, 4 goals against? I don't know, but he's a viable third maybe, but he's not going to fetch very much to sweeten that deal. But hey, you never know.
What about Bertuzzi though? He's probably one they got to move.
Yeah, I had such high hopes for him. I really did. He did the whole vaccine, fight and said, "I'm not getting vaccinated." Couldn't come to Canada, and then he came back and really just sort of cruised. He didn't really take off.
He's been hurt a lot, right? He's another one that's been hurt.
Yep, most of the first quarter of the season he was out this year. So
he's only played 15 games so far.
He's a fiery guy. Let's head over to Chicago again. I'm hearing that I am not convinced that Taves and Kane are going anywhere during the regular season. I'm hearing too much white noise in the background. Their names will be up in rafters at some point, wherever they go. I'm starting to question their worth. They've got no trade deals. They pretty much control their destiny. They got the exact same agent.
Yep.
What is the feel on these two guys? I'm really because now I'm hearing Timo Meyer, which by the way, ladies and gentlemen, even if it as an RFA, if you trade away some good deals, bring them into Toronto or New York or Boston or New Jersey, because New Jersey's winning again. They're going to be players. He's got a $10 million qualifying offer. That's a lot of coin.
It's a lot of money.
Point per game guy, but what are you guys hearing? What's going on in Chicago? What's the word out there?
I mean, here in New York, I've said it for several weeks. All the talk is still Kane to the Rangers. So there is, and I haven't heard anything that Kane wouldn't be moved until after the season. That's everything is at the trade deadline or before. And if you're the Chicago Blackhawks, why wouldn't you try to get, because you're going to get the most at the trade deadline when teams are trying to make moves for the playoffs. That's where you're going to capitalize. So why wouldn't you?
He's the one, Big B, that says yes or no.
Correct, but he has a list of teams, and it being in New York, the Rangers are one of those teams that he will say yes to. So he has a list of teams. Chicago knows the list of teams, so they can shop him. It doesn't make sense to sit there.
What kind of salary is going to be retained, and what are you going to pay for this? And do you really need to?
Well, he's not what he used to be as far as a scorer goes, but I don't think that matters to Chris Drury. Chris Drury wants somebody in this team. As I said earlier in the show, they don't have depth. They have right side issues. If you put him on a line, put him back with Panarin from the Blackhawk days with Trocheck in the middle, it's not a bad line. But the cost, I mean, that's why the Rangers made the moves they made. They'll have $7 million plus at the trade deadline in cap space. They have players like Lafreniere, who's apparently on the block. They got Zach Jones, NHL ready defenseman, and they have picks. They got 2 number ones. The number one they got from Dallas for Lundqvist, and their own. They have the picks. They have the players. They have the salary cap.
You don't go to the show on this deal, and there's trouble. It's going to pay years down the line. I told you before that the Rangers are ahead of schedule, and I know you want to win, but you've got a good team that wasn't supposed to be this good already.
I agree, but they still have flaws. Like I said, they are not good 5-on-5 as far as scoring goes. They need help there. They've had 87 line combinations. They can't stick with one.
I don't think you're in your window right now, though. Like like Dubas has to win, or he's not getting a contract, and him and Shanahan are gone. If Boston doesn't win this year, say goodbye. I'll guarantee you they don't even make the playoffs next year. These are teams that have a window. You're still cool. You're a very young, talented team. Are you going to bet it all now?
I can't tell you what Drury's going to do, but based upon the results of last year, yes, that's what I think they'll do.
And that could be a big mistake.
It very well could be. If you're going to give up, especially if you're going to give up one of the number ones for him, plus a Lafreniere, who I don't want to give up. I would still give him a chance and let him work on things, but that's just me.
Shesterkin gets hurt, and you're fucked.
Oh, well, that's why I loved Georgiev back there, because he was an NHL starter as a backup. Georgiev was great. They have whatever his name is, who's, he's like 4-13, whatever he is. He's not a great backup. He's old. He's not a great backup. Halak. Thank you. Yes.
What do you think, Bacon? You're an outsider.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, what you have to look at, what's he worth? You can't just go by his number. You guys still there?
Yeah, we're here. We're listening to you. Your
computer my computer froze up, so I don't know what it's doing, but
yeah, your camera's not moving, but we got your audio, and then that's a sweet picture of you up there on the screen. So we're good.
So you have to look at what he's worth, right? Like, you can't just go by his contract number, because that contract was negotiated. I don't know what, 2014.
Oh yeah, that was one of the high. Right? Paying those guys that money was ridiculous in those days. But they won
8 years, $84 million on July 9th, 2014.
Yeah.
So you going forward, you have to look and say, what is he worth? Is he worth a first round? Is he worth this or that? I think it's hard to say, because the way the contracts are going now, you're giving billions to guys that are worth nothing. Like, the numbers that are out there are just so skewed, and I can't figure out why. But I would say conservatively, he's probably worth maybe $6 a year now.
On like a 1 or 2 year deal.
Yeah, 6 and a bit for a max 3 years. Right? Is that worth a first round? I don't know. Maybe. It's definitely worth. I don't know. I don't know if it's a tough one, right? Like, I want to say yes, he can end up in a decent team, but I think it's going to be. I think you were right when you said you don't see Kane and Taves moving anywhere in the regular season. It's going to be a last minute decision, playoff type deal. 1 year, 2 year max maybe, and make it worth their while to go for 2 years.
I'm still the guy that believes, is there a way to get Timo Meier to the Leafs and yada. And I'm like, I'd be more open for a Domi or something like that. Like, I don't want to go big on any of these moves, but I think the teams that's going to spend, Carolina, I'm not so sure. They now with Pacioretty on LITR, they could probably pull a trigger, because it's now or never for Carolina. But they're a goaltender away from losing in the first round. But I've said it before, guys. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say Dallas, and then you've got Vegas without Mark Stone. So I don't know how that plays out. So I'm going to say Dallas and Vegas are two teams to take a look at. And I don't know beyond that. Who's the big players? Is Boston going to throw everything to get something?
What kind of? I guess to answer that question, you got to look at what kind of longevity do you think guys like Marchand, Pasternak.
Well, they're talking
guys like that have,
They're talking long-term deal with Pasternak, but if you throw everything into this year, is Krejci going to be back another year? How long is Bergeron going to play? How long Marchand going to be there? Are these goalies for real? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the way Linus Ullmark is playing, he's for real. That's for sure. Man, what a fantastic goalie.
So many moving parts in this league, and there's so many teams up against the cap, and there's so many teams that can't absorb cap space, because that's one of those things. You move a Kane, you move what's his name in Anaheim, all these $10 million contracts. There's got to be a third there that's going to take cap, and there's not a lot of that this year, and that's going to cost some dough.
That's what this year's trade deadline is going to be extremely interesting, because most teams are up against the cap and have like nothing to spend. So there may not be a whole lot of movement going on this year.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And then, like I said, you look at these teams. What was hot is not, and the teams that are getting hot again, it's unbelievable. Florida, New Jersey, Washington was hot until Ovi got hurt. Rangers are on pace. They're playing well as it is. They're winning games. God, the Leafs are 5-5. That's terrible.
They're going to get a win tonight, though.
They got to build a team that can beat Tampa. That's who they're playing. Nobody's catching Boston.
No, not a chance.
Nobody's catching Boston. All right, guys. Look, we got to go to our friend. We never did officially go into the water cooler talk. That was kind of cool. We just kind of played what we have. But let's see what Mike has to say in the world of sports before we wrap things up.
Now it's time for Sports Minute with Mike Jollitz.
Hello, pucks and pints. How are you doing today? Coach K, Big B, and Bacon. And I hope you guys are all doing well. It is now time for the Sports Minute. Arizona Wildcats beat the UCLA Bruins in college hoops on Saturday. Yay! Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars finally lost a football game on Saturday for the first time in his playing career. That's kind of cool. Impressive. The Coyotes were shut out at home by the Stars on Saturday night, 4-0. Actually, they gave up all 4 points in the first period. Scrubs. The ASU championship game is set. The Bengals face the Chiefs. I'm rooting for the Bengals. And finally, in the news, the NFC game is also set. The Eagles play the 49ers. Got to go for the Eagles. Not a big fan of the Niners either. Sorry. All right, you guys, what does it for this? The very fast Sports Minute. Hope you guys had a great show. You will be back next week, and you guys take care. Choose ciao whenever you're saying bye-bye.
Our other friend, Mike Jollitz. Always keeping us up on what's going on that's not hockey. But guys, a great show. We're going to have lots to talk about each and every week, the closer we get to the end of the year. Trade deadline, 5 weeks, boys?
Something like that, yeah.
March 3rd.
So we should start to see a few little things coming through the pipes, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was just looking up that deadline to see if it by chance possibly fell on a Monday, but it does not. It's on a Friday.
We might have to do a very special Pucks and Pints takes over Cave Crew Radio.
Oh, it'll be a busy night if that's the case, because that's it'll be, oh man. We'll have to be live streaming about 9 different networks to keep up with everything.
Well, it'll all be over by the time we go on air. Unless we go during the day. I don't know. Anyway, boys, great show. Go enjoy your games. Still 1-0 Islanders on Toronto after one.
2-1 Rangers. 2-1 Rangers.
2-1 Rangers. So 2 good games for you to watch. We'll catch you next week. We're back, and we'll have all the latest in the hockey world. And right now, the 3 of us are going to go pitch Netflix on our Robin Leonard movie.
Snake King or something.
Yeah, we'll figure out something. We got to make some money.
Slither King.
Thank you to all the listeners on our affiliate stations. To find out more, check out Pucks and Pints Radio on Facebook and Twitter.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel now and make sure you never miss another upload.
This is Pucks and Pints.